before we get started today, I wanted to give you an update on my last video, the radiator install. So when I left you, I had just put the radiator in, and now I got everything buttoned up. I didn't want to show that because I thought it'd be a little bit boring. So let me just show you real quick what I did. I also wanted to show you that I installed a Koyorad aluminum filler neck. It's a real awesome piece. It adds a lot of style, and from what I can tell, it seems to make a much better seal with this kind of hose. So now I'm going to put it on jack stands, get the wheels off, and then we'll get started on upgrading the pads and rotors. So before we get started, guys, I want to show you the pad and rotor setup I decided to go with. I got the EBC Ultimax rotors with green stuff pads. I wanted something that was a little more performance driven but not completely track specific. So I've used EBC in the past and I love them, so I think these ones are going to do great on this application, and I can't wait to get them on and see how they actually do. So I always like to turn the wheel out to make it a little bit easier to work on, and obviously in this case you guys can see it a little bit better. We're going to start by removing the caliper itself so we can get to the brake pads. I already cracked these ones loose. They're 14 millimeter. So we're going to take those off right now. Now we don't want the caliper to just hang because you could easily damage the brake line. So what I like to do is use a zip tie. We're just going to do split up here out of the way. Anywhere's fine. Looks good. Alright, now we're going to pop these brake pads out. Now on each brake pad, they're going to have like a wear indicator, and as you can tell, the brake pad itself, the material is right at that indicator, so that means they're definitely ready to be replaced. Now the caliper bracket bolts are pretty tight. I just used a pretty long breaker bar to knock them loose, so we'll try and remove that right now. There we go, guys. Sometimes the new brake pads will come with these new clips. Mine didn't, so we're just going to clean them up real good. And you also want to check the slides also. These dust caps will come off and you can just pull them right out. A lot of times I'll just buy new ones because they're super cheap. I had a feeling these ones would be hard to find. I don't know that for a fact, but we're just going to re-grease them and it should be alright. Now the rotor should come off now, but usually like this, I have a feeling it's rusted. It's like rust welded on there, so you're gonna have to hit it pretty hard probably. Alright, now we get to use the BFH. You want to hit it on the top and then on the bottom, and just keep working your way back. Before we throw the rotor on, guys, you always want to hit it with some brake clean, because from the factory they always put on a little bit of grease to just keep it from rusting. This one's already painted, and all that will come off, but I'm sure they still do it. Before we put the rotor on, guys, I always put a little bit of anti-seize right on the hub, right between the studs, and that should pretty much prevent it from doing what it just did. or it gets rusted right to it and you can't get it off. And put a little bit around the hub itself there. Now to keep that from wobbling and just hold it in place, I always throw one of the nuts on. I can already tell this isn't going to work, probably, because that's too shallow of a... Oh, there it goes. Alright, now we'll put the caliper bracket on. On these bolts, when I reinstall it, I like to put a little bit of the blue thread locker on. Just a little bit of extra safety there. I always like to put a little anti-seize right on where the brakes are going to slide on. These are the guides right here. See that one? There we go. Alright, time to put the new pads in. Usually start with the bottom. The top one should slide in. Now we're going to have to compress these pistons to be able to fit the new pads. So we just use a C-clamp and the old pad. There's the anti-seize again. Come right on the back. Alright, that's it for the front, guys. On the back. Now we're going to take off the rear caliper, starting with these two 14mm bolts. Now pull it up here. There we go. Zip tie. You want to also check to make sure they have pretty even wear on them. You got about the same amount of material left. Otherwise, you probably have a sticking caliper, and then you have to replace that as well. But these ones look pretty good. It's pretty normal. I didn't show this on the front, but you want to pull out these slides. Just wipe them down. Check for any abnormal wear. These ones look pretty good. So we're going to wipe them down and then apply new grease. Now some of them do have this rubber piece right here. You want to make sure that goes back in the same one. Like this one was on the bottom and the other one on the top didn't have it. Just make sure it goes in the same spot. Okay. Now this time the caliper bracket bolts are also 14mm, the same as up here. And I already broke these ones loose because they were really on there tight and they had to use a breaker bar. It took me a second. Now obviously the back ones are different because they have the parking brake shoes. So you just want to inspect those real quick. I normally just give them a clean. You need to adjust the parking brake. It's going to be down here. There's a little ratchet system. You hardly ever have to replace these things unless someone just left it on and drove with it, but they almost never wear out. Alright, I already got the back pad in, and now I'm going to finish it up by putting the front pad in. There we go. A small amount of anti-seize around the back plate. Let's see if it goes back on. Bottom bolt in. It'll still spin there. Have a little bit of resistance in the new pad. Looks like we're good. Well, the other side is just the same, so just repeat what we did over there. And before you take off, make sure to pump the brakes a few times, get a real good firm pedal, and just take it easy for the first couple of days. Let those new pads settle in. If you like this video, guys, please hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you. I'll catch you next time.